Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Silvia Soragni, and I'm part of the savory ingredients segment of Lalman Bioingredients, where I serve as category manager, focusing on our strategic portfolio development and marketing activities. I'm very pleased to be here today together with my colleagues. As a team, we work closely across markets and discipline to support the growing demand for sustainable, clean label ingredients. In this session, we will present in detail the features and benefits of our recent innovation, Engevita HiPRO Beyond. And before diving into the main content of the webinar, let me share a few practical points. We are presenting live, so please bear with us in case the sound isn't always perfect. And if you experience connection issues, don't worry. The session is being recorded. And after the event, we will share both the recording and the slide deck, which will be available via Touch and Sell. The session will last about 1 hour. In the first part, you will hear more about the protein market and our product. The second part will be interactive with time dedicated to your questions. Please feel free to take notes during the presentation and prepare your question. If we don't have time to answer everything live, we will have the questions, or you can send your thoughts and questions at info@bio-lalman.com, and we will make sure you will receive a written reply. Now, let's move on to introduction. I'd like to present the other speakers joining me today, as well as our session coordinator. Paulina, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Paulina Anisimova-Kurk, and I'm Savory Product and Account Manager. By education, I'm a food technologist and based in Estonia, and I'm with the company for 12 years, so we'll be pleased to support your developments and to answer your questions.
Thank you. Kun?
Yes, good morning. My name is Koen. I'm with LBI and I'm based in the Netherlands. I'm in applied R&D since the beginning of this year. So today I will tell you something about HiPRO Beyond from a formulator's point of view.
Thank you. And last but not least, Vilma is with us today.
So welcome to our webinar. I'm Vilma Almeida. I'm a marketing coordinator, and today I'll be here behind the scene, checking if everything is working well technically. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. So let's move into the subject of our webinar today, and let's take a moment to reflect on a major global challenge that is shaping the future of food: the growing demand for high-quality proteins. With the global population expected to reach 10 billion by 2050, the pressure on our food system is intensifying. This growth is driving an unsustainable increase in meat consumption, which leads to what we call a protein gap, a significant shortfall between the protein we currently produce and what we will need in the future. To bridge this gap, we need to look beyond traditional sources. Alternative protein, like those derived from plant or microorganism, are becoming essential. Today, consumers care deeply about the quality, the source, the sustainability of the protein they consume. The shift is especially visible in Europe, where we have seen a steady rise in product launches with claims like vegan, vegetarian, dairy-free, and plant-based, as shown in the graph on the slide. So what's next into the high protein trend? I think it's about embracing diversity in protein sources, investing in technological advancement, and ensuring our solutions are nutritionally sound and environmentally sustainable. If we take a look into the growing demand for high protein food, we can see that now protein are one of the strong purchase driver. Consumer link it with satiety, health, and convenience, which makes appealing across many different food and drinks categories. We see high protein claims in the classic snack bars, nutritional drinks, dairy, in cereals, in salty snacks, meat and meat substitutes, and even in plant-based drink. And across all these application, protein helps product to stand out. We start to see also protein claims in application that usually were not the focus for this trend. And we have here the example from Mintel in Asia. We see how protein claims, together with other claims, play a role in pasta, rice, and noodle launches. High protein in this case are often combined with high fiber and low glycemic claim, and the trend is expected to continue. It's a clear sign that protein is gaining ground, even categories that we might not expect. And at the bottom of the slide on the left, you can see two examples from actual launches: an high protein cheese slice from UK and a plant-based schnitzel from South Africa. We can now highlight how protein claim is being used in traditional and plant-based formats alike. So overall, protein is a key growth driver and a major opportunity for innovation. If we deep dive into consumer segments, we notice that younger consumers, especially those aged between 18 and 44, are actively seeking high protein content in their food choices. But when we look at older consumers, particularly those aged 65 and above, we see a different story. They are much less likely to prioritize protein when they're shopping. This is especially true in European markets like Italy, Spain, and France, where the gap between younger and older age groups is quite pronounced. And yet, this presents a critical opportunity. Seniors often have increased protein needs to support their muscle maintenance, mobility, and overall health. So while younger consumers are driving the trend, there is an untapped potential in engaging older adults. And by addressing this gap, we believe the industry will not only support healthier aging, but also expand the reach and impact of the high protein movement. Let's take a look in the current landscape for alternative protein. This slide shows the top plant protein ingredients used over the past 5 years. You'll see that soy, wheat, and pea protein continue to dominate, while other like broad bean, rice, and potato protein are gradually gaining traction. This reflects both innovation and diversification in the market. But it's important to recognize sometimes the limitations of these ingredients, from allergenicity to incomplete nutritional profile to anti-nutritional factors, processing complexity, and even taste challenges. So those can affect both consumer acceptance and product performance. There are also concerns around genetically modified organism and competition for arable land, which adds complexity, especially as sustainability becomes a central focus. So while alternative protein offer a promising solution to the protein gap, they are not without hurdles. This is where continued innovation, cross-functional collaboration, and consumer-centric development becomes essential. And with that, I will pass the word to Paulina that will guide us deeper into how we are addressing these challenges and unlocking new opportunities in the savory ingredient space. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvia. One of good and sustainable options is yeast protein. Yeast is produced by a controlled fermentation process where molasses are mainly used as a substrate for yeast propagation. As molasses is agro-industrial byproduct of sugar production, it results in circularity and sustainability of the process. The production of yeast protein requires less arable lands, reducing the waste of freshwater resources, as well as the emission of carbon dioxide. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is a common strain widely used. It has a long history of safe consumption, and yeast protein has no allergenic ingredients or anti-nutritional factors. Lalman Bioingredients would like to present our innovative product, Engevita HiPRO Beyond. It is a complete, non-functional protein with all essential amino acids. Fungi and microbial protein sources are widely accepted in vegan and vegetarian diets. The product is vegan, gluten-free, GMO-free, kosher, halal, and GP certified. Patent is currently pending. Talking about nutritional factors, it has more than 80% of protein, which can increase protein content of your final products by adding Engevita HiPRO Beyond at a low dosage without compromising the taste, as it has a very neutral flavor. The product doesn't have functionality. No gelling, no emulsifying, no foaming. It is wettable and easily dispersible in liquids, thus it is easy to use and apply to all food matrices. Its PDCAS is 1, and protein profile is very close to milk and animal source proteins. Engevita HiPRO Beyond is an excellent complement and alternative to animal and plant proteins. With this, I'm passing the micro to my colleague Cohen to learn more about applications of Engevita HiPRO Beyond.
Koen, it seems you are muted.
It seems we lost our presentation, or at least I don't see it anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, something happened. I am resharing the presentation now. Should come. Like, let me retake control and I see if I can reshare the slides. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, coming, and then let's move forward and then you can retake control. Sorry for this accident, but technology sometimes doesn't help us. Okay, I'm moving. Okay, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sylvia. Okay, we're back again. So I want to tell you a little bit why, from a formulator's perspective, Engevita HiPRO Beyond is a very interesting ingredient. Because when you want to boost the protein content of a product, the idea seems very simple, right? You add some protein and you end up with a higher protein product. But there can actually be many obstacles from a formulation point of view when you add a protein into many kinds of products if you want to boost the protein content. So there's the allergenicity. Many common plant-based and animal-based proteins, pea, soy, egg, milk proteins, they're all common allergens. Adding protein powder, especially to a liquid matrix, but to almost any food will increase the viscosity and increase the thickness. Adding protein will also affect the shelf stability. The functional properties of protein might change the behavior, the texture of a product over time. The mechanical processing might become different because of the functionality of the protein, because of the change in viscosity. The mechanical processing in a factory might change as well. You might end up with undesired textures if you are thickening a product. Protein powders can be grainy. It can gel, it can thicken, it can foam. So you might end up with textures in your products you might not want. Proteins also tend to absorb quite some water. So you'd have to adjust for that in your formulation. And they can bring an off taste. And also the heat stability might be affected because many common proteins, they change their properties when heat is applied. And I think the benefits of Engevita HiPRO Beyond in overcoming these obstacles can be boiled down to three main characteristics. One of the is the neutral taste profile, especially when compared to other plant-based proteins like legume proteins, soy, pea. They have some beanie off taste. Engevita HiPRO Beyond doesn't have this beanie off taste. It has a very neutral taste profile. So it's easy to add into a formulation without changing the taste too much. There's also the high dispersibility, which means it's very easy to put in a formulation. It doesn't clump, doesn't stick together. It mixes very well with almost any kind of matrix. And it's a very lazy protein. It's a non-functional protein. In many cases, this might seem like it's a bad thing, but when you actually don't want this functionality, you just want to increase the protein content, the fact that it doesn't do anything in your matrix to change the texture, to change the properties, to change the behavior, could actually be great. And I will now show you some applications we've tried our Engevita HiPRO Beyond in, and how these properties can shine in many applications. First, I want to start off with a dry pasta we've made. And I think this really shows off the neutral taste profile of the Engevita HiPRO Beyond very well. Because high protein pasta is not a new thing. There's many high protein pastas on the market, but often these are legume based. It could be a lentil pasta, it could be a chickpea pasta, or just some pea protein might be added to the pasta. And then indeed you end up with a high protein pasta. I'm not saying some of these products are not nice, but they're very different products than a flour pasta. If you have a lentil pasta, there's a very different taste and texture than a flour pasta. But with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, you can add like a significant amount of protein into a flour pasta while still preserving the very nice taste and texture properties of a flour pasta. So you can increase the protein content without trades off on the texture and the flavor. So in our tests, we've added up to 15% of HiPRO Beyond into durum flour tagliatelle, and still ended up with a very nice, acceptable product. When adding 7.5% of HiPRO, we managed to go from 10% protein in a normal flour pasta to 15%, so a 50% boost with no noticeable change in texture or bite or in the taste. There's even some improvement in integrity. You don't notice this from a sensory point of view, but the cooked pasta, it's a little bit stronger, falls apart less easy than just the dry flour pasta. And when adding 15% HiPRO Beyond, we could double the protein content from a flour pasta. At 20% protein, 15% HiPRO, the texture changes a little bit. It becomes slightly chewy. There is a noticeable taste difference when tasted side by side. However, it's a very small difference. It's only noticeable when compared side to side. When you would put it in a sauce, not really different anymore, and it's still very comparable to the reference product. It's very much a flour pasta, so it's not a completely different flavor profile like lentil pasta or a pasta with added pea protein. Next, I want to talk about high dispersibility. I've mentioned this briefly. On the right side, you can see another commercially available protein. And on the left, you can see HiPRO Beyond. So what you see when you put a protein in water is it tends to stick to itself very much. When it mixes with water, it will even start to thicken, to create clumps, might even start to gel, especially when you apply heat. But Engevita HiPRO Beyond, it doesn't like to stick to itself. So it disperses it very easily in water, but in really any kind of matrix. So even without stirring, it kind of wants to mix very homogeneously with the matrix. So it makes it very easy to put it into a formulation and to get a consistent result with mixing, with texture. Super nice. And an application that shows this off really well is a protein shake. Now, of course, protein shakes are something that are widely spread in the market. But when you look like at a ready-made protein shake, so one that's stable on the shelf and that you can buy in the supermarket, you're kind of limited in which by the amount of protein you can add. Together with ICL, we've developed a protein shake with our HiPRO Beyond, and we've managed to put in with ease 13.5% of Engevita HiPRO Beyond, which amounts to ever 11% of protein. Why is this significant? On the left, you can see a commercially available protein shake. And if you look at what kind of protein shakes are available on the market right now, shelf stable, they will have 7 to 8% protein. Why is this? Because that's just the limit you can go with the amount of protein you can put without having trade-offs on texture, processability, and still have an acceptable shelf-stable product. If you put more, it will start to become too thick, it will start to clump, or it will not be stable anymore. But in our protein shake we've made with ICL, we managed to put 11% protein, so almost 1.5 times the amount of protein. Doesn't matter if you use pea or soy or whey protein, 7 to 8% for functional proteins is the limit you can put in. With 11%, you get 36.3 grams in a 330 milliliter shake, whereas you get only 25 grams with another protein. So really a significant boost in the amount of protein you can put in these products. And another very nice aspect where the non-functionality shines is that it combines very well with other proteins. What do I want to say with that? Sometimes you want to add proteins to a product from a functional perspective, because proteins, the functionality of proteins can be very nice. It can add some great structure to your products. One application we've worked on is these vegan chicken nuggets. And in those, we've actually used microprotein and wheat gluten, so very functional proteins, to create a very nice chicken-like texture. So where does the HiPRO Beyond come in? When you want to add protein for texture and functionality, you want to optimize for this. So even though you want to create the product maybe with 20% of protein, the optimum from functional point of view might be at 10% with for your gluten, for example. But with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, you can further boost the protein content while keeping the functional protein at an optimal level, and still get your product with your ideal texture whilst boosting the protein content even further. So in these nuggets we've made, we've managed to double the protein content from the nuggets with just microprotein and wheat gluten alone. So we've put in twice as much protein, and we've ended up with nuggets that contain 30% of their calories from protein. And all these things make Engevita HiPRO Beyond a highly versatile ingredient. So because of the high dispersibility, the non-functionality, you can almost seamlessly integrate it into many kinds of food matrices. These are just some examples. Non-dairy beverages we've seen, plant-based cheeses, So those are plant-based applications like meat analogs as well, but also snacks, in the pasta, soups and sauces. Really any application where you want to boost the protein content, Engevita HiPRO Beyond could be a suitable ingredient. We've also done some tests with low or high moisture extrusion, where it could also work great. But those are just some examples. There's so much more. I think in almost any cases where you want to boost the protein content in a product, Engevita HiPRO Beyond could be an interesting option. And I want to conclude by saying our main promise of Engevita HiPRO Beyond is that you can boost the protein content without compromise. And I want to show this in one application where I think it especially shines, which is plant-based cheese. If you look at the market right now for plant-based cheeses in a supermarket, almost all of them don't contain any protein at all or very little. Why is this? Because the functionality of the protein starts to interfere with the texture, with the taste of the product. So almost all vegan cheeses are starch and coconut based. But with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, you can just add some protein in there and keep the texture and the taste the same. So we've been able to add up to 8% protein with Engevita HiPRO Beyond to our standard coconut and starch vegan cheese formulation, still keeping the neutral taste profile, still keeping the same texture. Processing is very easy, so it doesn't thicken or gel, and still keep the perfect texture of the product. And with that, I want to thank you very much for your attention, and we will be here to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Koen. So it's now the time for questions. Feel free to use the Q&A chat to share your thoughts or inquiries. The team is here to respond live with the coordination from Vilma and myself. And of course, if you prefer to remain anonymous, that is possible. There is an option available as soon as you enter in the chat. So we are looking forward to hearing from you. We have a large audience today, so in case we receive too many questions, as I mentioned earlier, we will take time to answer after the event. We consider to have more or less half an hour. I see one attendee is raising the hand, but we will not give the micro to the audience. So the Q&A chat should be in the upper part of your screen. So you could type your question, we will receive them, and then I will take care of sharing those with the team. Let's wait a minute to allow people to familiarize with the tool. Yeah, it seems we have been talking about this product for so long that our audience doesn't have a question ready at the moment. So maybe something interesting I can mention in the meantime is that for the European market, the product is an ingredient. So it can be widely used in any application without any further wait for approval. So it's not a novel food. And we have a regulatory team. If you want to check the status from a regulatory perspective in countries where we are present, of course, but maybe they are not so close to us and you would like to have a support, our regulatory team is really happy to support your inquiries also from a regulatory perspective. I start to see questions coming in. So let me have a look. The first question, have there already been many products launched with the yeast protein? I think I will keep this question for myself. So we have seen at the beginning an extraction from Mintel Search looking at alternative proteins. And for sure, we can see that yeast protein are in the pool of the latest launches. So we see yeast protein present on the market in products from plant-based meat alternative to hybrid cheese. This is an area that is developing quite quickly. We see it in noodles. We see it in many different products, indeed, in snack bars as well, both savory and sweet. So we really see the adoption is coming, but of course it takes time because if we compare the volumes with protein that have a long history of use and probably also diverse functionality into the food matrices, we can still see a wide difference. Okay, so this is also an interesting question that I see popping on my screen. The product is really great. This is the comment, but there is a pricing challenge in the market. Of course, we see a price differentiation with protein that have a long history of presence in the market, and we need to consider as well that at least I speak for Lalman Bioingredients, we are still in the launching phase of the item. So industrialization is going very well, but we expect to have, as the demand will grow, to have a major industrial scalability that could help in the future to moderate the pricing. Thank you for the comment. Okay, so I feel like, I don't know, I'm taking all the questions for me, but it's also something from a marketing perspective, indeed interesting and new. I have a comment from Turkey. The claim of protein enrichment is not very popular in Turkey due to economic reasons, and in this context, customers focus on the functional part of the protein. Yeah, we see a growing demand for high protein. It goes together with low fat, low sugar. Of course, the adoption region by region may not be the same. But when we look at what is the protein gap, it is a real issue. So globally, the sustainability of meat consumption, it cannot last for long if you want to keep a sustainable growth of the industry. So either we don't focus in high protein claim, but we need a good solution for replacing meat. Here we can play with yeast protein. I have another comment here. It is a new product. In our audience, there is someone that have not met yeast as a protein source so far. Maybe I give the word to Paulina, so we listen to someone else. She has a long history in Lalman Bioingredients, so she can tell us about, in general, maybe how protein are present in yeast.
Thank you, Sylvia. So yes, there are some other options available on the market. However, from Lalman Bioingredients, we focus on quality and also on all essential amino acids, including branched amino acids present in the product. As mentioned during my slides, it has over 80% of protein, and it is very easy to use in food matrix. So as a benefit for our product, we see that it is very easily dispersible in liquids, and it could be used in a wide range of different applications, dry products or liquids. So yeah, I hope this answers your question. If you would like to receive more details, please do not hesitate to contact us later.
Thank you very much, Paulina. Very thoughtful. I have a couple of questions for Koen. One is regarding sauces. Have we developed recipes with high protein sauces or in the high protein sauces context, or is it something we can do? What is your experience, Koen?
We've definitely worked a little bit on some sauces. I don't think we have any definitive applications yet, but we have some work on the shelf. So if you're interested on that, please send an email and we can see how we can help with that.
Yeah, I think as we have the question, we can do a follow-up later and check exactly what type of sauce. I don't know if we should call it sauce, but for sure we have developed a hummus for a North American exhibition. So in that sense, it was really interesting to increase the protein content of a hummus. It's interesting also because the hummus is quite dry. Let's say it doesn't contain a lot of water, but the result was not grainy or sandy at all. So maybe this could be one avenue, but we will make sure we look into the type of sauce that our attendee was looking for. Another question for you, Koen. Have you tested it in chocolate fillings?
No, we haven't yet. So sweet applications are not our core business, but it is something very interesting that we're delving more and more into. And it's a really interesting application for sure. So could be definitely something to look into.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in combination with chocolate, I think we have shown earlier this protein drink with the coconut hazelnut flavor. So the neutrality of HiPRO Beyond helps its inclusion in sweet or savory application without issues. Yeah, but tempering the cocoa, then it's something different that we may have a look into. Or, of course, samples are available if like professionals of chocolate would like to test it. We are very happy to send our samples. Let's go to the next question. Do we have a yeast protein that is clear for clear beverages? Koen, this is again for you.
Yeah, no, we don't have that yet. So clear proteins are processed in a very different way. They're usually like a hydrolyzed protein. And Engevita HiPRO Beyond has just the fixed properties that also make it unique, the non-functionality, the neutral taste from our producing process. So at the moment, we don't have a clear option.
Yeah, because I see another comment and probably coming from the same attendee. We see, of course, a large increase in protein water. And could this be like an application good for Engevita HiPRO Beyond? Like Koen, I let you comment.
If this is really something we would want to work on, then we could see if there is any way to make it work, but I don't think it's the ideal application. Again, for these protein waters, usually they're using clear hydrolyzed proteins. Might be something to look into to see if we could develop a hydrolyzed protein, but Engevita HiPRO Beyond as it is now, it's not a clear protein. So if you want to put it in a solution, it will not be clear. it will be opaque. So for protein water might be a little bit less suitable.
Yeah, I think with the good stabilizing system, the suspension in water will not be a problem. But of course, if we want a crystal clear product, at the moment, as you said, this is not the case. Let me see. Okay, a question regarding ultra-processed food. Let us know the status of Engevita. So the production of Engevita HiPRO Beyond is very simple, basically, and then we have the patent pending, but it is a precipitation and separation from the yeast milk. So we propagate the yeast cell, and then we precipitate the product. So I wouldn't say that those products are ultra processed food if we compare with other type of protein. So question regarding the declaration, I take it for me. How do we declare in the ingredient list? So ideally, as I mentioned, in Europe, the product is non-novel, so it's a simple food ingredient. And what we suggest is yeast protein, as simple as that. So yeah, we have another question regarding labeling. In this case, I don't know the country of our attendee, but my suggestion is to send us an email either to your sales manager or the manager of your area, or directly to us, info@bio-lalman.com, and we can look into the regulatory status for your region. And regarding halal certification, yes, the product is certified halal, is certified kosher, and for US and Canada is also certified non-GMO, which is an extra certification on top of our standard declaration of non-genetically modified ingredient. Okay, so I have like a comment that is quite long, not easy to read, but let's try to understand. I think there is a little bit of a limitation in the number of characters that the Q&A allows. So due to its high protein content, I believe it could be considered a meat substitute in further processed meat products. Customer consider it adulterated. I'm not sure to capture fully the comment because it doesn't allow me to read further than that. As we have seen in the chicken nugget alternative, so the plant-based nugget, we can use Engevita HiPRO Beyond to further increase the protein content. I don't capture exactly the comment regarding adulteration because, okay, the protein content of Engevita HiPRO Beyond is pretty high. We need to consider that we start from a cell, the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is already quite rich in protein, and maybe Paulina can comment further. We are around 40% to 45% protein in Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So what do we do is simply to precipitate and concentrate the protein that are naturally present in the yeast. Paulina, do you have a further comment or anything to add from your experience?
I think you covered it well, and perhaps it is the question also about ultra processing that we covered earlier. Yeah, it covers well. But if you need more details, information, please reach out to us later.
Yeah, I would also recommend, so we have like a clarity regarding the the comment and what is the issue maybe related to a certain market that is not easy to tackle in these few minutes we have. So question for you, Koen. Someone is looking for a formula for a protein shake, but found that Engevita HiPRO Beyond does not stay in suspension. How can this be overcome?
Yes, so it does disperse well in water, but over time it will settle down because it does not dissolve. So, for example, in our protein shake with ICL has used some of their stabilizers. So you could use a stabilizer to stabilize the protein. They have used some phosphate based stabilizers, but for example, in our lab, we've also had some very good results with just using a low concentration or some simple gums. You don't really need a lot to stabilize it because it mixes very well with the water. But if you add a low amount of I'd say many stabilizers are suitable. You can stabilize the suspension. What would also work is homogenizing the product. If you decrease the particle size by putting a liquid with HiPRO Beyond the suspension in a homogenizer, it will also help to keep it more stable.
Thank you, Koen. We have another question for you. Does the HiPRO Beyond gives umami notes at higher dosages, or it is completely blend?
So of course everything has a flavor, and compared to other proteins, the flavor profile of Engevita HiPRO Beyond is very neutral. So it has little taste compared to other proteins. Doesn't mean it has no taste. So if you use it at a higher concentration, the taste will be noticeable, but it will still be subtle. That means it can be masked very easy, much easier than other proteins. So if you add some other protein, some other flavorings, you can cover this up easily. I think it shows very well in our protein shake where we've added 13.5% of Engevita HiPRO Beyond. It's basically the bulk ingredient. Only ingredients are only very small amounts, and it's a sweet application, but still the off taste is very low. It has a very nice chocolate hazelnut taste, which of course covers up a little bit of the taste of HiPRO Beyond, but it's easy to do.
Thank you, Koen. So we have another question related to the sauces. The question is it possible to share newly launched high protein sauces across the globe? Yes, this is valid for all the attendees. When we work as partners, we can share our resources. So I am managing a contract with Mintel. So what is covered by Mintel GNPD, I may have a look and be able to share insights according to the region or the application. So it is something we can work in collaboration with our sales team to gather the requests and then for me to prepare some report specific for your interest. Let me see. I see new post coming in. So it's good to see a comment related to the ultra processed food or UPF. Current search about UPF shows that is not correlated with health outcomes. So any claims about ultra processing are meaningless. I think it's not a movement that we can ignore. Basically, it has been in presented many years ago, started in Brazil, but then from time to time it comes as a wave, and now the UPF communication is quite high. But I agree with our attendee. Basically, a lot of products and produce and protein need to be processed to be more digestible or to have a longer shelf life. And our lifestyle doesn't allow everybody to let's say, cultivate or to raise their own animal and quickly prepare them every day, prepare a fresh meal. So I think we should look at it, be ready to bring our motivations to the table. So not ignoring, but also understanding that this kind of approach has limitations. Like basically it appeals a lot consumers because it's easier to speak about negatives than positives. But of course, it's I say one of our tasks to support consumers to better understand what is correct or not correct from a scientific point of view. Thank you for the comment. Okay, question for Koen. It's about beverage application. So I see today there is a hot topic regarding protein shake or other kind of beverages. Do you have a maximal processable dosage rate for Engevita HiPRO Beyond in beverage applications, Koen?
Yes, so very interesting question. As you can see, for example, in the ICL drink, we've put 13.5% of protein. And in the lab, for us, it's easy to go higher. Then we can go to 15, maybe even to 16, 17, 18% of Engevita HiPRO Beyond and still get an acceptable product. But it also depends on what your industrial processing is going to be like. And ICL said that this is where their limitation was and where they could put 13.5%. But they said they could achieve a higher protein content if they had better equipment. So for exactly what would be the industrial limits, I don't know, but in the lab we can almost reach 20% easily.
Thank you, Koen. I see a question, and maybe we will go a little bit deeper in written. So the phrase or the sentence is this one, like, or the question: normally yeast is used in food, but typically in small amounts. In cases where it's used as a protein source and consumed in larger quantities, such as 24 or 30 grams, how can we be sure it's safe? Is there any reference or data to support its safety? So yeast protein were recognized as safe. Like in Europe, as I mentioned, they are considered ingredients. We have a very high digestibility. There is no anti-nutritional factor present in the yeast protein or in yeast in general, no allergenicity. So I think I will investigate further, pass this question to our regulatory team to substantiate the safety data that you're looking for, but we can take it as a second step. Question to Paulina, maybe, as you have a long experience in R&D, but also as product manager. What is the pH range this protein stable and safe to use in?
So Engevita HiPRO Beyond is suitable for a regular pH for food matrices. And so there is no specific range where HiPRO Beyond does not work. And it is safe to use to the best of knowledge and based on all the regulations that we have checked for. So I hope this answers your question.
Can I add something, Paulina?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
What's also very interesting about the HiPRO Beyond is that many other proteins that are functional, they change their functionality over time. But Engevita HiPRO Beyond, it keeps the non-functionality also with the change in pH. So yeah, another interesting property.
There is a question that I would take directly, like if we have other products from the portfolio that are meant for sweet applications. I think like historically our portfolio is well developed for the savory application. We are also named savory ingredients. But if we look at specific yeast extract as an example, where we are introducing umami or kokumi flavors, those can be used in different applications. We have, as an example, High Life 605 A, which is a product, a yeast extract rich in glutathione that we are going to showcase as well at Food Ingredients Europe, and we hope to meet you there as well. We are applying this yeast extract in a sweet application, in the specific in a drinking yogurt. We tried strawberry flavor with very good results. We have an added complexity to the strawberry, longer mouthfeel, and so forth. So special yeast extract, so not the basic one, the ones that would bring glutathione or nucleotide, can play a role in sweet applications. We have still a few minutes to go. Let's see if I can take last questions. So there is one regarding anti-nutritional factors in other vegetable protein sources. Yeah, usually pulses can contain lectins and other molecules that decrease the digestibility. And when we look at PDCAs as well, some let's say limiting amino acid from the essential amino acid range can decrease the coefficient of the PDCAs. So we can have a look later on this specific subject. Feel free to send us an email. But as we have now 3 minutes to the end of the time we allocated, and also for your time allocated to this webinar, I will move to the conclusion. So we have a growing global demand for high quality proteins. The yeast protein emerges as a promising ingredient, and the fact that it's easy to integrate in different formulas or product concepts make us being very positive that with Engevita HiPRO Beyond, we have a protein source that will come more and more present in the development of the food different applications. So as we have like last 2 minutes, I'd like to present quickly L'Allemand bioingredient, savory ingredient as part of L'Allemand. It's a Canadian company with a global presence. We have at the moment more than 4,500 employees across the 5 continents. Our savory ingredients expertise allows us to offer tailored solution for a wide range of application, and I invite you to visit our website to learn more about L'Allemand bioingredients, the other segment of this business unit, and about L'Allemand if you are not familiar with the company. If you have questions, as said earlier, don't hesitate to contact us at info@bio-lalmand.com. And I'd like to thank you very much for your valued time, your attention today, and a special thanks to my colleagues that contributed to make this session insightful and engaging. Thank you, Koen, Paulina, Vilma. if you like to say goodbye to our audience, the floor is yours.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you
so
everyone for
much.
attending, for your questions, for your interest in Engevita HiPRO Beyond. And yeah, see you next time in the next webinar, and have a good day.
Thank you very much.
We remain at your
So,
disposal in case of any questions down the road later on. Thank you.
yeah, and samples are available. So if there are points that we couldn't prove ourselves in the two labs we have currently dedicated to the savory ingredients portfolio, don't hesitate to ask for samples. Thank you for your time and interest, and goodbye.